Going on, everybody? Welcome to Hel Talk. This is your host, Matthew. Just me today. Um, we got some stuff to talk about. It's been a while. Why the hell haven't I recorded anything for so long? Good question. Don't have an answer for that, but hopefully we can figure out some potential solutions or changes to a couple formats and talk about some upcoming events. Silver Age. The Silver Age championships happened a little while ago. Whatever. Um, and one of the best players, Isaac, won. Congratulations. Um, and I'm not trying to pick on him or his team, really. I mean, you have to play the best pieces in a championship game or tournament. But let's just get right down into the crux of what I think should be a future change in Silver Age, which is, do we need to see Sakai and Iron Man, Carnage Silver Surfer, and Sky Tyrant? Do we need to see them winning another tournament? Ever? I mean, is I mean, who that seriously plays HeroClix? Who doesn't know about these pieces? Who doesn't think they're good? Who doesn't realize that they're some of the strongest pieces ever made for their point cost? I mean, does anybody think that they're not good anymore? Does anybody think they fell off? No, they shouldn't, because they just won the Silver Age. So I guess the good news is that power creep is dead? Question mark? No, no, but almost. I mean, it's getting there. I mean, power creep's definitely been toned down recently. I think we've kind of all can agree on that for the most part. Again, with few exceptions, uh, but when it comes to 50-point Swiss Army knife beat sticks that deal way too much damage, um, yeah, nothing beats those three characters. Because if something did, we would have seen it. And of course, there's plenty of other teams in Silver Age that did extraordinarily well. So yeah, you could argue that I'm just picking on first place, because I got nothing better to do. I don't know. But of course, second place, third place, fourth. I mean, those are all pretty much equally, strong teams. I mean, most of the top cut is as good as it gets. But again, my point is that it's like, do we really need to see Sky Tyrant? Do we really need to see Sakai and Iron Man or Carnage Server win again? I don't think so. I think we all know that they're good. I think we all know that they're some of the best pieces, and I think we all know that they can just go away for a while. But here's the thing: you might just be thinking like, oh, so you're gonna say or suggest that these three pieces get banned? No, I don't think so. I think pieces like this that are so good but don't inherently break the game, right? They don't break the format in any way that or they don't produce strange or confusing interactions that would have to be ruled on an individual level. So I think they're perfect for the restricted list, and I've talked to a couple of my other buddies about this as well, and I think they're in agreement. So, or we're in agreement, or whoever. Don't correct my grammar when I'm in the middle of a podcast. Um, yeah, so I think they're perfect for the restricted list. I don't mind. And again, it kind of goes against that argument that I just made of, well, do you want to see them win again? It's like, I'm kind of not mad if I shouldn't say mad, or I say I'm not annoyed if any one of those pieces wins, right? But I'm not a fan of all three of them being used together, especially because they're all just keyword cheated to X-Men, and we know how that goes. So it's a little too much. All right. I think there are plenty other extraordinarily good options um, that you can put on a team. And I think you should have to ask the question, like, do I want to run a Scott Porter, or do I want to run, Sakarian Iron Man or Sky Tyrant? I think in Silver Age, uh, depending on how you build the team, a Sky Tyrant could, have just as much impact in whether or not you win a game as a Scott Porter. So again, depending on how you build the team. So I think those three characters are perfect for the restricted list. Because I'm just I'm tired of seeing him. But again, nothing against Isaac, nothing against his team. I don't know if I would have played exactly the same team as he would, because I am not creative enough to figure out the Angel Bomb Alpha Strike, but I think I would have probably played a very similar team just without the Angel Bomb. So I would have played a worse team. But I don't see a way of not playing the three kind of best characters in the format, in my opinion. I think those are the three best characters in the format. They just, come up and deal an insane amount of damage. Because I mean, it's either that or you're playing something like Black Leopard and, you know, and either a free Mjolnir or a free Destroyer armor, and when I say free, I mean, well, those who, when I say free, if you know what I mean, it's kind of, well, what do we say? If you know, you know. Um, but yeah, so let's update the Silver Age restricted list. I think currently the restricted list is underpopulated in that it's pretty much Scott Porter's and and then other stuff. So everything that's quote unquote other stuff is effectively banned because it's not as good as a Scott Porter. Or I should say it's not as it's not as good, and additionally it's also not as ubiquitously good in the sense that like Scott Porters are good on every team that Scott Porter's on, it's good. Versus playing like Maggot or something. I don't even know if Maggot's still on the restricted list, but if I think it is. But again, some of these pieces on the restricted list are there for kind of a good reason. I mean, but it's mainly the way I see it is an attempt to make them unique, but the effect of it is actually they're banned in the format because they're just not as good. But I thoroughly believe that if those three pieces that we're mentioning, if those are on the restricted list, I think in Silver Age you still would see people play all three of those figures. In obviously in various teams, not all together. And you would still see people play Scott Porters. So I think that would be healthy for the format. I think all of those pieces are very, very strong, very impactful. And I think the restricted list should be specifically catered to those pieces that are extraordinarily impactful. Um, yeah. So don't thank me. Don't send me any letters saying that you want me to marry your daughter or whatever because I solved and fixed Silver Age all by myself. Don't. Just live with the improvements that I'm suggesting. How about that? No, I don't know. So the other format that I wanted to touch on was Pulp. And Pulp, I should start by saying, uh, for the most part, people think is kind of a dead format. And I tend to think that WizKids might agree, um, because with the exception of Worlds, I don't think there was any Pulp, like major Pulp events that were put on. Um, because I think WizKids and other tournament organizers, I think they quickly realized that Pulp, it's a smaller playing pool, character pool of the game, and because there's no equipment allowed, that actually reduces the variability of play within the game because there are some very good commons, uncommons, and rares with equipment, um, and then taking not necessarily taking away, but preventing them from being equipped in the format uh, makes them unplayable, quote unquote. And I say, and I know some people don't like the phrase unplayable, but when I say unplayable in the competitive sense, um, it doesn't it makes them not on that good options list. I don't know how to, I don't know. I have a way with words, ladies and gentlemen, and it is an awful way of words. The the pulp format does have troublesome characters as well, and I would love for the pulp not only the pulp ban list to be updated. I would love for the pulp ban list to be updated because currently the only modern age figure that's on the ban list is Necron, and I agree he should probably be on there. Um, the others are all Silver Age pieces, I think. I don't have the ban list right in front of me, and I should have had it in front of me. But you know me, do I prepare for these things? No. Why would I? Why would I do that? That would be smart and responsible, and I guess I'm in neither of those things. So the, the what would I put on the ban list for Pulp right now? Um, I think everybody knows the number one offender. I mean, even in modern age, people don't always like him. Is Prodegaton. Prodegaton in Pulp is an auto include, um, more so than I think Chair Panther is in modern. Because you can have a team without Chair Panther do well in modern age. Um, I don't think you can build a good Pulp team without Prodegaton, meaning that build a team without Prodegaton, right? And then I can swap if I swap a piece out for a Prodegaton, the team is now better. Whether or not, even if that breaks theme, you know what I mean? So Prodegaton is just that good. Considering he's one of the most played support pieces in modern age. Um, he's like an S tier piece in modern age, and he's whatever is above S tier, whether people call it tier 0 or something. I don't know, but he's that good in Pulp. He's an auto include. Um, so I think he should be banned for sure. The other piece that I think should be banned is Timebreaker. Timebreaker offers a very good amount of flexibility in Modern, and in Pulp, just offers it's just um, too much maneuverability and flexibility for 5 points. Again, I think it's an auto include piece, because typically when building teams, you know, as you're putting, you know, pieces on your team, and you see like you see that you're like, oh, I have 5, 10, 15, 20 points left on my team. You know, so what am I going to throw on it? And very frequently you're like, oh, well, if I only got 5 points left, I'm throwing a time breaker on it. Whereas in other formats, you might consider, you know, playing an equipment or something like that, you know, some other, you know, a one shot, you know, another game element that maybe goes on your sideline. Um, Whereas in this format, that's it. Timebreaker is the equipment, quote unquote, of Pulp. Um, so he's on every single team. And when I say he, I think, I don't know, it's a genderless bug, I'm assuming, or whatever, but um, who knows? I don't really read those comics. But the point is, should be on the ban list. I don't think too many people would disagree with that. Um, I don't think that's also the thing is, I don't think banning Timebreaker isn't going to expand the variety of Pulp teams. Uh, it's because pretty much like it's just going to be the team that you were playing, you know, with Timebreaker. You're going to play that exact same team without Timebreaker, in the sense that if you built a team and it was two, you know, let's say you're playing a 300 point Pulp format. You build a team and it's 295 points. You're like, oh, I'll just throw Timebreaker on. Boom, we're done. It's 300. If someone told you, well, Timebreaker is banned, you would just play that 295 point team. You wouldn't go, oh, well, let me rethink my whole team because Timebreaker was critically essential to it. There are maybe a few times where you've specifically used the Timebreaker in it, like an Alpha Strike calculation. But there's plenty of things uh, in Pulp that can Alpha Strike, uh, you know, without it. And I think you should, traditionally you should build a team that doesn't require Timebreaker in order to Alpha Strike. Um, but you never know. Like I said, so I mean, but like I said, it's too much flexibility. Autonomous actions in Pulp feel ridiculously overpowered. Um, so again, I think Timebreaker should be banned. Um, Another piece that I am hesitant on saying should be banned, but for the purposes of this, sure, we can just say it should be banned. But potentially, um, because what I was also going to, you know, kind of segue into is, I think Pulp should also have a restricted list, and potentially this piece can go on the restricted list. So again, similar to uh, the Silver Age restricted list, it's like restricted list characters are for characters that don't do anything it's kind of like outside of the format, in the sense that, you know, it does way too much for the intent of that format, which I think we agree Prodegaton definitely does. He does way too much for the Pulp format, and I think Timebreakers also do way too much for the Pulp format, um, especially for, you know, their cost. So, but I think something that could be banned or could go on the restricted list is also Madison, the 20-point rare. I don't think that piece is. Um, I don't think the piece is ever going to not be played because of another piece that I'm going to say right after her. Well, I could just say it now, because of Moreland from the Beyond Amazing uh, Spider-Man set. And And no, no, no. I said beyond amazing. Why did I say that? I meant Spider-Verse. Who the fuck? Anyway, from Spider-Verse. um, yeah, I'm talking about the typically the 80 point rare that you're going to play a character that can use support is free, which is either going to be Martin Lee or it's going to be Ramonda, and you're gonna. So I'm kind of going on changing topics and talking about Moreland a lot, but um, I think Moreland is, in my opinion, and I think most people agree, is an auto include in Pulp, but I don't think he inherently breaks the format. So I think Moreland is a great piece for a restricted list. I don't think he's ban worthy in Pulp, um, because he's so good because of other figures that work with him. And if you were forced to not uh if you were forced to not be able to use, for example, Madison with Moreland, right? Because Moreland's got the mystical keyword. Madison goes, great. I'm going to double perplex all game. And that's obviously very strong. It's not quite as strong as what the whole Predagaton package, but it's very, very potent. Um, but for example, if you said, hey, you can use Moreland, but that means you can't use Madison. Ooh, well, okay. I mean, would you still use Moreland? Probably. But going further, what if you said, hey, you can use Moreland, but that if you do, that also means you can't use like Martin Lee, you can't use Ramonda, or you can't use like Jack Russell, or basically anybody that's able to heal Moreland as a free action, right? And anybody that is able to use support is free or heal is free. Um, I think those characters uh, and Moreland, right? If all of them and Moreland and Madison, you can basically put all of them on a restricted list, um, which could solve that problem. But then you might go, hey, that's kind of using a big, you're casting too wide of a net. Um, and maybe the free heal kind of technique is intended in the game, but for the pulp format as well. But I also think it's a little too strong. But anyway, I don't think Moreland's like trick, of spawning a guy and then healing the guy, which heals Moreland, which then actually goes, no, I'm going to make another guy on the next turn. I don't think that breaks the format, but I think doing it for free every turn is a little too strong. So, um, so potentially, I mean, maybe banning Moreland in the format is better than putting a bunch of people on the restricted list, because what that would also include, or not include, is require, is that every character moving forward that is made, uh, or that would be legal for the pulp format, that can heal something for free, um, that would have to like all be automatically put on the restricted list. So, talking through it right now with myself, uh, perhaps Moreland should just be on the ban list, in pulp, because again, he is the strongest. Um, I think he's just the strongest kind of character in a from a damage standpoint, from a flexibility standpoint, as an attacker. I don't think anything specifically beats Moreland. Um, and I think, yeah, now I'm thinking about it, I think banning him in pulp might be fine, because it lets quite a few other characters shine a little brighter. Um, but who knows? Maybe perhaps, um, uh, maybe, hmm, I don't know, or maybe just doing that whole restricted list thing is the way to go. and maybe leave it as Moreland and Madison, and just say, look, hey, you want to play Moreland and you want to play a free heal, fine. But I think everybody is going to do that then. And I think that again, that doesn't allow for a lot of team variability, and I think that results in what most people complain about Pulp is that everybody plays the exact same thing, or everybody wants to play the exact same thing, and then Pulp gets quote unquote solved, and then once it does, and there's no better team than the team that everybody's playing, and then that's it. So, but I don't know. I think personally that the current Pulp format is the healthiest Pulp format there's ever been. I think the Spider-Verse set and the Smash and Destroy set both have incredibly strong Pulp options, and I think that minus a few uh, outliers that we've already been talking about, I think there's plenty of things that are really good in the format and just fun to use in general. Um, I really liked the rare Rhino from Smash and Destroy. Um, Again, not an incredibly fantastic piece uh, in modern age or what, but in Pulp, I think just does very well. Um, I like Shuri, the uncommon Shuri that generates vibranium and then basically just in a way just generates equipment for people to either have +1 damage or defense. Um, I think she really shines in the Pulp format. Um, but there's so many other things. Like there's a lot of good uncommons and rares and Smash and Destroy and Spider-Verse. Um, that I think they will never see competitive play in 300 modern, but in 300 modern Pulp, I think they would definitely see play. And I think we are at the threshold of there are too many quote unquote good things to play in a 300 point Pulp, a modern age point uh, Pulp format. So what that means is that inherently every team isn't going to look the same, because the reason why that happens, and that has happened in the past with Pulp, is because the pool of really good characters was so was slim enough such that everybody was like, oh look, like we have, for example, I don't know how much it was, but let's say it's like we're playing 300 points and it's Pulp or whatever, I don't know, it could be 400 points, doesn't matter. But if we're playing 300 points, for example, and there's 250 points of quote unquote auto include, characters in the format, then every team's going to look pretty much exactly the same because everyone's going to play the stuff that's good. I mean, when you think back of previous Pulp, it was okay. Do you have your Blue Marvel and or a Party Thor? But it's one of the two. Usually Blue Marvel because he got knocked back. Do you have him? Okay, cool. Do you have the uncommon Doctor Strange because he's got leadership and he was like one of the very few people that had it, and that was actually good. And he's also got TK and all that stuff. Like, do you have him? All right, cool. It was just, and it was basically that for almost every character. It's like just, hey, do you have this auto include piece? Yeah, okay, cool. And you saw that in at Worlds when, I think it was like top 4 or 8 teams or what. I don't, it doesn't matter. But it's like a lot of the top teams. You look at Top Cut were just basically the same. And you're like, oh, okay, everyone's playing kind of the same thing, and there may have been one or two characters like a difference between the whole teams, but virtually everything else was the same. And that's why everyone's like, oh, Pulp is solved. You just have these basically, here's 8 characters that are good in Pulp, and pick 6 of them, and that's your team. And you're like, all right, that's not very fun. But now I believe that in Pulp, again, assuming a small handful of characters are banned or restricted or whatever. So like I said, if you get rid of Prodegaton, if you get rid of Madison, get rid of Morlun, maybe get rid of Shuri. I don't know. I think Shuri's fine, but um, it just get rid of the top, heavy hitters, or the top extremely efficient support characters, and suddenly now you have, for example, again, I don't have a list in front of me, that I didn't make one, but I think you have at least 20 to 30 really good characters in Pulp. And you can't build a team with 20 or 30 characters. So if they say, hey, here's 20 or 30 characters, and then pick 6 of those, then your teams are going to look very different. It's not, your top teams are not going to be, hey, a mirror match. Oh, another mirror match. Oh, it's almost a mirror match. You just, instead of, you know, oh, your Prodegaton's on a different starting line. It's like, it's, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like that. It's going to be actually people playing different strategies, because I guarantee, like, as I mentioned, I think the Rhino, the rare Rhino from Smash and Destroy, is good enough to play in Pulp. I tried him out, and I think he did fine. I mean, he wasn't mind-blowingly, good, but I think it was like, yeah, he did his job, and I was able to deal very consistent damage with him. But um, do I think every team or every competitive team would have that Rhino on it? Should, again, like I said, assuming all these bans and restrictions and all that stuff, whatever, assuming it's updated, assuming the format is updated, that's the key. Do I think everyone's going to play Rhino? No. Do I think somebody will play Rhino? Yeah. So, and that's it. That's what makes the format healthy. Is that I don't think everyone's going to play it, but somebody will. And they're like, all right, cool. And if you have 20 to 30 characters like that, which I think you do currently, then you have a good format. So I'm hoping that WizKids doesn't completely abandon the Pulp format. I think it just needs to be updated. You it's difficult to have a modern age Pulp event, and then you look at the band list, and the band list is virtually one character. because all the other 3 characters are Silver Age. I think it's Molecule Man, it's um, Mr. Sinister, and it's, oh, what's the last one? I just had it in my head. Oh, it's Professor X, right? It's got to be Professor X for X-Men Swap. Yeah. So it's, you know what I mean? And it's like, you got to update that. I mean, definitely keep those guys in the in the ban list. Mr. Sinister, doing never bring that guy back. Um, but yeah, they just definitely needs to be updated. Definitely needs to be updated, because when you're like, oh, I can just not play Necron, and you're like, well, it's like, yeah, I maybe wasn't even considering playing Necron to begin with, because I have Morlun, and and he just kind of runs the map anyway. I mean, Morlun and Necron would be wild, so it's probably best to just ban them both. But oh man, like I said, I have hopes for the Pulp format, but it just needs to be updated, and I'm hoping it does. Hoping it gets updated. Hoping it gets updated soon. Because I enjoy Pulp in the way that it feels like you're taking a break from HeroClix, but you're still playing HeroClix. I don't know. It might sound like a weird thing to say, or maybe that just I don't know how to really describe that feeling other than that. So yeah, I'm taking a break from HeroClix, but I'm still playing HeroClix, because it's strange. It's like, it's not, you can play a competitive event, but it still feels like you're taking a break. Like, it doesn't feel like you're actually playing competitive. I don't know. This is just me. Maybe other people disagree. So definitely, if you disagree, shit, let me know. Um, but I feel like even the most complicated pulp teams, and there are some, you can get some complicated pulp teams. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of triggers that you remember and all that stuff. But um, I just still feel like for some reason it's like my brain is on. It's like it's just idling. I don't feel immensely pressured to remember everything, at the highest level. I don't know. So I'm like I said, hoping the format continues and does well. I hopefully Pulp doesn't continue to remain solved for as long as it exists. All right. What else we got going on? Um, we're hosting a championship clicks regional. What the heck? I mean, I'm pretending to act surprised. Did I sound surprised? No, I didn't. Well, anyway, but yeah, you heard it. Heard it right. We are going to host a Championship Clicks Tropical Regional on Saturday, July 26th at Screaming Monkey Comics in Munster, Indiana. It's right on the border, the Illinois-Indiana border. If you have an arm good enough, you could throw a stone from the store across the Illinois border. So hopefully, if you got time, come out. We got some exclusive LE prizing, which is the Katana and the Jaro LEs, which look pretty interesting. I don't think either of them look like they're gonna break the meta, but I think both of them look interesting enough to show up for. Uh, which is kind of I like um that power level, that kind of Goldilocks zone of strength of hero clicks. Where you're like, huh, that's interesting. I probably won't ever bring that to a worlds tournament, but yeah, I think I could use that, a couple weeks here and there and see what it can do and try it with different figures and maybe even if I don't think it's good right now, I can maybe keep it on the back burner and wait and see if something else comes out in a future set that combines with it and and then makes it competitive perhaps, who knows. Um and like I said, I think both of those figures are kind of like that. Um but like I said, you never know. Uh it's going to be, let's see, I think we got it starting at 1 p.m. Um the bonus kind of the bonus incentive that we're doing is that uh, well, one, I believe our entry fee is going to be the lowest entry fee for any um, regional tournament, I believe, which is $20. So let's see. I don't I don't know. I just anyway. Our entry fee is $20. I think that's cheap. The suggested entry fee for on like the solicit that the championship, you know, or champion clicks. I don't know if it's championship clicks, champion clicks. I apologize. Again, I should have these things open in front of me so that I'm not just making up shit and but I'm just for first of all, I'm just kind of blown away that we're even having the opportunity to run an event like this. This is kind of wild for me. I was um you know for a while, we're just kind of just putting on home events and showing up to stores, putting on little events here and there, and every once in a while we try to make a do our best to put on a big event and perhaps raise some money for charity and all that stuff. And I thanks to everybody who shows up for any of our events. Um, but it's nice uh, to have been able to get our name out there. Hopefully, this event puts a even brighter spotlight on our group and and the players that show up for our events. I hope they do well. I hope everybody who comes out is satisfied. Um, because jumping back into the reasons why our regional event is going to be special is that, like I mentioned, I think it's going to have the lowest entry fee of $20 because again the suggested was like 25 to 35, so we're going to make it 20. And then additionally, Screaming Monkey Comics is also going to have a they have additional sealed packs of HeroClix that they are going to be giving out to each player in addition to their participation LE. So it's just going to be incorporated with that entry fee. So uh, so everybody that shows up for $20, you're going to get a participation LE on top of a bonus pack of HeroClix. So I again, I think already just as a participation, uh, the prices that you're going to get for just for participating, I think already make up for that $20 that you spend. Um, we're also going to have food delivered. So if you want dinner, we're going to do pizza just for $5 per person. So again, I think that's a really good deal. And then additionally, this is another, you know, kind of free bonus is that Screaming Monkey Comics is also going to supply or provide drinks and snacks to all, uh, so everybody who pays an entry fee. So again, with your $20 entry fee, you're going to get participation LEs. That's from the prize kit that ChampionClix are sending us. You're going to get the bonus pack that Screaming Monkey Comics is supplying, and you're also going to get a $5 voucher that is can be exchanged for drinks or snacks. So they have, you know, water, soda, all that typical stuff, you know, chips, you know, candy bars. Again, typical things that you'd find at a comic book game store. Um, but they're just again, they're throwing that in to sweeten the deal. So I think on top that on top of all the additional prizes that we're going to have, which if you've seen a couple of the other people uh, you know posting about the prizing of the ChampionClix events, then you know you're probably familiar with the Tropical Regional prize pool by now. Um, they gave everybody, at least this is what they said to me. I'm assuming this is boilerplate language they sent to everybody, but they gave organizers the option to get additional like add-on prize packages, and so I asked for the maximum number of add-on prize packages, which I think was three. Yes, three. So we should be getting the most amount of prizes that we can possibly get for this event. Um, those prizes, uh, they have it listed that we can kind of use them however we want. So of course we're gonna for people if they don't make the top cut, you know we can have BRs going. We can have BRs going really anytime. So and we will have packs for that. I believe they're going to provide Smash and Destroy, but you are more than welcome to use other packs that the Screaming Monkey Comics has as well. Um, BRs are going to be only $10, which I think also is a fantastic deal. So we are trying to be the most cost-effective uh, ChampionClix regional event that you can find. Um, and I will also say that I I'm not going to keep any extra prizing if it's not um, used, I would say, during the day. So what do I mean by that? I mean every uh, every placement, in the actual event, I think it's like the top 8 has guaranteed prizing that they're going to get. Um, we may push that to top 16 because of the additional packages that we're getting. Um, and of course, as BRs, if they go on and as they go on, we're going to be using those additional prize packs, uh, for those BRs as well. But at the end of the day, after everybody has, received their prizes from all the BRs and from their placements in the main event, if we still have LEs or any other prizes left over, those will be given out at absolutely no cost, to no additional cost to players. And those will be, I believe it's in the event description, but we're going to be drafting, basically snake drafting, but in like reverse order. So from last place in the tournament, we're going to, snake draft all of the remaining prizes if there's any left over again, and that's going to be at no cost. So I don't. I'm getting as many prizes as I can, and I'm going to give them all out. So if there's any extras left over, I am not keeping them and taking them home. Or anybody else helping me with the event is not going to keep any extras. Of course, they do list in the uh, solicit that those that help judge the event, they actually specifically include LEs for the judges to take prizes home with them. If I do have additional judges with me, yes, they of course will be able to take those LEs. Um, so I'm not going to short anybody who assists me, but uh, I am not going to be taking anything extra uh, home with me if there's anything left over. So I would much rather have it go to the players who uh, took the time to make the trip and come out to make the event successful. So that is what we have going on. And again, that is Saturday, July 26th, and it starts at 1 p.m. Depending on attendance, it could go later into the evening, but like I said, we will have time for break, for food, for whatever people need. But just plan for it to be a quote unquote all day event. Um, but it should be a blast. Hope everybody brings a killer 300 modern team. And like I said, um I'm trying. I may sound very laid back in this, but I am extraordinarily excited. I just I it's tough for me to believe that a group like ours is being allowed to run an event like this and get a prize pack put together just for us. So it's an honor, and I'm hoping that we get to do many more things, many more events like this in the future. So what else do we want to talk about? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Hmm.